They can be they are descriptive and prescriptive as well, right? The word means this.
By definition, humans decide what to put in the dictionary, right? So they're just these are descriptive.
But they put it there because the words mean something.
At the time, believe.
Yeah, I mean, we could go down a tangent on prescriptivism versus descriptivism, and that might be good for a future appearance.
I don't know if it's a tangent.
It would be a very good discussion, and I think it would be great to have you back. I appreciate.
But I don't understand that statement at all. It seems like a very weird statement. Like, what is a dictionary prescribing? Like, underneath the definition of a word is like, you should add to this, or it would be good if you went out and did X. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Can I just say this before we start? I can already hear you. I can already hear a handful of you who are like, Lance, sweet summer Lance. I know that David Pakman, I know for a fact that he's a liberal. He's a liberal, you see. He's a liberal and he's had bad takes before. And that may be true. Everyone does have bad takes. I myself have even indulged in a bad take or two. They're exceedingly rare, though, because I'm improving and reaching my final form faster than most. But I will say this. David Pakman also has very good takes, and if it's David Pakman in the ring versus Michael Knowles, who has always horrifyingly bad takes, I would rather see a victory on the behalf of Pakman. All right, I will say that. I've said it now. I've said my piece. And I've also interviewed David Pakman, so I have to be completely transparent about that. And he's interviewed me as well. And when I did interview David Pakman, I asked him if there was a Miss Pakman. And I'd like to say that since that corny little joke was delivered and landed, he laughed. I've got a little Miss Pakman arcade machine in the background. That's not because of David Pakman. I've actually always enjoyed the aesthetics of Miss Pakman. I also love the game. It's very hard and challenging. And my partner has a higher score than me right now, and it's very infuriating. It's really hard once you get past the 18,000s. Like then everything just starts going so fast. Anyways.
This clip has gone viral. This clip, we played it yesterday. Let's just play it again. Marsha Blackburn, Republican senator from Tennessee, Ketanji Jackson. Can you give a definition of the word woman?
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
The opposite of a miserable pile of secrets. There you have it. Science.
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
The meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
She can. She's not a biologist. This clip has gone viral. It's gone viral in part because this gender issue has taken over the country. You see it with the NCAA controversy. There's a man named Will Thomas who beat all the girls in the girls' swimming match, and he gets the trophy, and everyone's supposed to be okay with that. Wow. You see it with the bathroom bills. You see it with all sorts of new legislation.
Right out of the gates.
And conservatives are flabbergasted by this. We think this is so beyond caricature. It's so beyond
True. Destiny
absurdity.
is very upset about this issue.
But I am worried sometimes that we are not giving the best argument for the other side, or that we simply don't understand what the other side is saying. So, in the interest of actually hearing out the other side, I'm very pleased to bring on David Pakman, who is the host of The David Pakman Show. It's a nationally syndicated progressive TV show and radio show. I'm always really grateful to progressives who come on this show. We invite lots of them on. Very often they say no. Sometimes they come on. So
Really?
Just to make sure we're not strawmanning anything, let's bring on
invited.
David. David, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, come on, Michael.
It's a unique pleasure to be here, Michael. Thank you.
So, David, you saw the clip. You've been watching the Ketanji
I get the feeling this is going to make me
Jackson
sing
hearings.
that. Fair enough.
Am I
Fair enough.
crazy, or should a twice Harvard-educated nominee, federal judge, nominee for the Supreme Court, who is a woman, be able to define what a woman is?
I can't say if you're crazy. That would be for a mental health professional.
For my doctor.
You're either dishonest or ignorant, and we can maybe figure out which. So here's the deal. I mean, I'm kind of, we're just meeting each other. I'm sort of kidding around, but here's the deal. There are no instances where when issues come before the Supreme Court, it comes down to the dictionary definition of a word. When it comes to
That's so true. Could you imagine a fucking judge being like, well, Webster's dictionary seems to have arson described as the act of burning things. So you see, that's precedent right there. Precedent.
Counts as a woman, or what is discrimination, or what is negligence. It's always in very narrow circumstances where dictionary definitions do almost nothing for you. So she was very smart not to play into these kind of rhetorical black holes, because whatever definition she gives, Michael, she then is going to be pushed into some corner with some case or article or book she hasn't read, by the way. And there's no upside to it. So if we're just having a good faith conversation about strategy, she did the right thing. Almost 60% of Americans believe she's qualified, and she is. And that's really all there is to it. It's kind of boring.
Well, I agree with her. I don't agree with you that it's boring. I think it's one of the most interesting questions in the country, that we're now at a point where we can no longer.
That was fucking awesome. Great intro. Good right out of the gates. Good opening. Aggressive, condescending, and not in the way that it's going to provoke. Like that's something I think David Pakman does better than a lot of other people, is he can be very condescendingly dry, which I guess doesn't lead to someone else just shutting down. Whereas, like, you know, the Hassan versus Michael Knowles thing, by the end of it, they were getting a little bit at each other. That's also a very good debate, though. I think Hassan did really good in that one.
Or even define man or woman. But I do agree with you on strategy. She's in a very tough spot because her side of the aisle, and she's relatively leftist, even by the standards of the Democratic Party. So on her side of the aisle, there is a new definition of woman. Well, they haven't given the definition of woman, but it's not the old definition of woman, which is a person who's not a man. That is out because of the transgender movement. And so she knows that if she gives this new definition, which is a woman is, I don't know, a woman is someone who says that he or she is a woman, that's going to alienate, I think, the vast majority of Americans. If she gives the old definition that a woman is a female human being and a female is of or denoting the sex that can bear children and reproduce and produce eggs, for instance, she knows that that will alienate her.
It's always been about the eggs. With these men, it's all they care about. They want the eggs. They're all egg men, every single one of them.
Clean up your room.
Dr. Robotnik's trying to collect the eggs.
Base, and she knows that that now is apparently controversial in the law.
Petfuls, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
After the Bostock decision, after other transgender decisions. So I understand the strategy, but what about the law? What about the definition? You say she shouldn't be quoting the dictionary. Well, fine. Shouldn't she at least be able to give the legal definition of a woman? Shouldn't she, a woman, have some sense of what that is? I'm not a meteorologist. I can tell you if it's raining.
Yeah, there is no legal definition of a woman, and that's exactly the point. The point here is, when it comes to the court.
Clean up your room.
Even Michael Knowles' condescension is fucking terrible.
Of a woman, and that's exactly the point. The point here is, when it comes to the court is in a position, or will be in a position, or might be in a position, to decide for the purposes of a particular set of facts based on a claim brought by someone who appeals a case about these issues. And so it's literally irrelevant to her job as a Supreme Court justice. And so, again, we can have a cultural discussion outside of the context of the Supreme Court. In the Senate's job in evaluating, is she qualified? It's an irrelevant question. And by her qualifications, she's more qualified than any of the 9 justices currently on the court. There's no way to deny that.
I think you can, because I think all of the 9 justices on the court can tell you what a woman is. And so I know we're getting back.
But again, you're not addressing Pakman's point. This is kind of a feels thing, Michael. I thought you were the facts don't care about your feelings kind of thing. It's kind of like, yeah, do you want to have a personal conversation with each one of the members of the court and be like, so how do you define woman? And it's like, how do you define a man? A miserable pile of secrets?
Clean up your room.
Doesn't really matter how that works.
I've never been asked to do that. No, nobody's ever been asked to define words in this way during hearings. So you could speculate that. But they've never been asked. So
they've never been asked.
Impossible.
I agree. I've never, but I, as a gambling man, I would bet the farm that Justice Alito could tell you what a woman is. But you're right. They've never been asked.
This is great. again, it's kind of dangerous, right? Because we're dealing with a topic that actually does have very serious ramifications. And obviously there's a whole bunch of legislation that is specifically being drafted in multiple parts of the United States to target trans people. So I think the communication on this needs to be very succinct and facts-based, which is what David's doing here. He's saying if you want to have, a conversation, whether it be philosophical, metaphysical, whatever, about things outside of the courts, that's completely separate from, is there precedent? Has this been done? Has there ever been a legal requirement to state what is a woman? Things of this nature. And if the answer to that is no, then what are we talking about? Why would a judge bother with that?
Clean up your room.
Hey, he left his best. Thank you for getting a sub to BRG410. Hello, BRG410. Welcome.
Because it's never been controversial before. But I want to get to a point you just made. You said there's no legal definition of a woman, but there must be, because there are legal protections specifically for women. So if we don't know what a woman is, then
Title III thing.
And Title IX. And Title IX is quite controversial.
Have a good faith conversation, or one that's in some way productive, you know?
You're saying you and I, or you're saying Ketanji Jackson?
The condescension has been ramped up a little bit. All right. It's not as dry as before. Now I feel like the condescension is definitely reaching that point where it's like, oh shit. Okay. All right. It's gone down.
Yeah, I don't know if, listen, the Republican senators obviously didn't want to have a good faith conversation. I was talking about you and I, Michael.
Yes, well, I do want to. This is why I'm granting you you're making the point on political strategy. I totally grant you that. That was the right move for her to make if she wants to avoid
relevance.
But then bring up Title IX. There are legal protections for women. This is coming before the court. It's come before the court in the last term. There are going to be a lot more cases coming before the court coming up. It seems extraordinarily relevant that we know what this woman thinks of these issues and of a basic question of biology and human nature. What is a woman? I don't think that's a bad faith question for the senators or for me to ask.
No, it's not necessarily bad faith, but we have to be able to, what I hope are reasonable people, Michael, understand that in the context of her role as a Supreme Court justice, it doesn't come down to a biological opinion. Like, can you at least grant that piece?
Well,
it's true that for what the Supreme Court decides, these are narrow issues where, when it comes to Obamacare's constitutionality, which Amy Coney Barrett never, refused to weigh in on, with all of these things, these are really narrow legal decisions, and there is no way in which a dictionary definition of terms does anything for us.
Well, it might do something, but I grant your point a little bit, except that Marcia Blackburn didn't ask for the biological definition or the dictionary definition. That's what Ketanji Jackson added. She said, I'm not a biologist. But all Marcia Blackburn asked was, just tell me what a woman is from a legal perspective, a constitutional perspective, a philosophical. What? I
actually kind of really liked her answer, where she was just like, I know I'm a woman. I was like, I don't really know what else more you need to say.
Whatever. That's literally not what Marcia Blackburn said. I would encourage you to pull the clip and identify the time at which she said that.
She said she didn't mention biology, and she didn't mention the dictionary. She said, "What's the
But you just asserted that she said she wanted the legal and philosophical. She never said that.
No, I didn't say that. I said I just said Marcia Blackburn asked for the definition, any sort of definition that Ketanji Jackson could give of woman. She didn't specify biology.
Now you're backtracking.
I'm not backtracking at all.
That's dishonest now.
I'm not back. How am I backtracking?
No. Hold on a second.
Good. Call him out on his shit. This is great.
Let's be clear. 30 seconds ago, you said Marcia Blackburn didn't ask for the biological. She asked for the legal.
No, I didn't.
Let me finish the sentence.
Okay, but you're misrepresenting what I said.
No, I'm not. I would encourage the audience to rewind.
I would encourage that. I would encourage that as well. But
but can I even get it out?
Sure, we can do it. We have the technology.
The problem with what you just did, Michael, is you just said Blackburn asked for the legal definition, and I said no, she didn't, and you said no, that's true. She actually just asked for the definition.
I'm sorry. Well, then, if either you misheard or it seemed that I misspoke, I'll be very clear. Marcia Blackburn.
That's a debate tactic, Michael. Come on. You're trying to wrap two things in, which is like, well, perhaps I'm incorrect or you are. Either way, it doesn't matter. We'll go forward and say, no matter what the case is, whether or not I was right and you were wrong or something else, we'll just proceed.
Blackburn just said, what's the definition of a woman? She didn't specify anything else. Now, you then said that biology has no place here, or that the dictionary definition has no place. But that's not what Marsha Blackburn asked for. She just asked a simple question.
Understand that in these Supreme Court hearings.
Okay, so here's where I would have deviated and got a little silly, because the point that Pakman has made will rest also on the fact that this question, if he's like, this doesn't have direct relation to her ability to be a competent judge. So if someone was to ask any random question that doesn't have relation to her ability to be a judge, she doesn't have to answer it, right? Like what is the what color is happiness? And if you're sitting there, it's like, I don't know. Empirically, I'm not entirely sure about that, right? Does it have any bearing whatsoever on my ability to, again, be a judge in a court of law? No? Then yeah, I don't have to answer it. It's not pertinent to what we're doing right now, which again is kind of like a job application. I could explain it to you, but I don't want to be too condescending here.
The senators can ask the questions however they want, and the nominees can answer them however they want.
Or not answer them.
My opinion is, this is my opinion, and you can have a different one, and that's the great thing about America, Michael. My opinion is that if you're interviewing for the job of Supreme Court Justice, it's reasonable to assume the questions have a legal bearing as to your role on the court.
He said it much better than me. I still like my example, though. I just think that probably would have derailed the conversation a little bit if I had brought up the whole "what is the color of happiness" thing example, just to show that does this have any relevance to the discussion that we're having at the time. But you know, we were of the same wavelength, I suppose, in our thinking. He just was far more eloquent in his statement.
Given that, Judge Jackson was right to understand the point of the question is to back her into a rhetorical corner about legal definitions, and she was right to say it's not something I can answer. These are narrow issues when they come before the court, and there's no reason that she would ask such a question. Do you know this guy Jesse Lee Peterson? Have you heard of him?
I know Jesse Lee Peterson.
You know, when I was on with Jesse, he said to me, David, define what love is and what a man is. And it's a really common rhetorical technique for the bad faith right to start with just pick a word and define it and use it to back someone into a rhetorical corner. It's a waste of time, Michael. Let's talk about real issues, please.
Okay. Well, I think that as a philosophical issue, but certainly as a legal issue too, the definition of a woman does matter, has mattered recently, and will matter soon. But I at least agree with you on the strategy. You have not convinced me of Judge Jackson's good faith confirmation hearing, but you have convinced me that she is a wise politician and that she is playing her hand the best that she can. Before I let you go, David, I know we're like way over. I am really not playing the game of giving you some impossible thing to define. But since the question of woman is up in the air, everyone's arguing over what it means these days, do you have, either you yourself or you speaking for the progressives, do you have a working definition that you would use?
No, I don't do, like I told Jesse Lee Peterson, and there's so many, this interview is feeling a lot like that one, interestingly enough. I don't do dictionary, I do politics. And so, no, I don't spend time defining words. And here's in all seriousness, Michael.
Yeah.
Let's now talk philosophically. Really, we're talking, man to man now. Dictionaries are descriptive, not proscriptive. So
well, they're prescriptive sometimes too. But they can be descriptive. They are descriptive and prescriptive as well, right? The word means this.
By definition, humans decide what to put in the dictionary, right? So they're just these are descriptive.
But they put it there because the words mean something
at the time believe.
Yeah, I mean, we could go down a tangent on prescriptivism versus descriptivism, and that might be good for a future appearance.
I don't know if it's a tangent, but
it would be a very good discussion, and I think it would be great to have you back. I appreciate.
But I don't understand that statement at all. It seems like a very weird statement. Like, what is a dictionary prescribing? Like underneath the definition of a word is like, you should add to this, or it would be good if you went out and did X. Like that doesn't make any sense.
I truly appreciate your coming on and giving the progressive perspective on this, and I hope to have you back on the show. Where can people find you in the meantime?
davidpakman.com, and it's been my unbridled pleasure to provide you these insights.
Unbridled pleasure.
Thank you, David,
Wow.
very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you liked that clip. Now, if you want more clips.
Oh, I liked it. I liked it, Michael, but probably not for the reasons you think. Probably not for the reasons you'd like either. Yeah. I liked laughing at your face. I liked laughing at your stupid face. That was fun. And I'd do it again. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we are prepared to conduct many a human sacrifices in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble yet incompetent jesters, trying in vain to bring some levity into your life. To our Lord Trevor R., we give you thanks for this meager plot of land for us to toil away our pathetic existence. To our brave knights, Carl Wauer, Tony, D.M. Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Mayred, Cheryl Alvarez, Reuben Kelly, Brendan, Words Greenwood, Nate, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Jenna Tal, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren 42, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Agent NDN, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We salute our mighty heroes off to conquest some bread in some far-off lands.